but I did my high school education in Ohio, in a town where it wasn't maybe quite as intense as the town from Friday Night Lights. Do you guys football fans? Yes, you guys are football fans here. So it's not quite that intense, but it's somewhat intense. And you actually had to have tryouts to be a mascot there. So it was usually a basketball player in the off season. But it was my first year being there, and I loved football. I did not want to be a cheerleader, so I tried out. And to my great surprise, you are looking at Ohio royalty here, folks. I am the first female football mascot of Western Ohio. Thank you very much. No, no, you don't have to clap. But the key is that I could not tell anybody this, except for my family and my sister. So. Actually, one of Tom's former students, Ross Gay, actually challenged me to write this poem, and this is called "The Mascot of Beaver Creek High Breaks Her Silence." There are some suits more difficult to remove. Spades, armor, tweed in the summer. But those nights you thought I was home, dateless, studying for chemistry, memorizing the dates of epic battles, I was working myself into a lather of sweat for a field of angry young men. Sometimes they were so close I could feel their hot breath in the space between my head and my furry neck. Even the captain and the cheerleaders never went that far. Every hand that once reached for me still haunts me at the most unexpected times, as I place vegetables on the grocery belt or walking the glow wall walkway at the Detroit airport. Something still pulls me to the ground, and it's not the crowd, it's not the scent of cola or popcorn, the tinge of engine grease, or a truck revving at homecoming. If you slice a jacaranda bloom between two glass slides and place it on a microscope, the corolla will always fight for the light. If you once posed for any pictures with me and still have them scattered in your attic, look carefully at the dark netting of my mouth. If you squint hard, you can see my actual teeth clenched into a small scream. It was high school after all. I was always like that, and I was always cheering for something. And I guess I still am. Something is always worth cheering for. There is always some cheer worth something. Cheer for some worth, always. My family and I are planning a trip, hopefully in the next couple of years, to India, northern India, to visit the Taj Mahal. My father's from India, but he comes from the south of India. And, a lot of times people are like, "You're Indian and you haven't been to the Taj Mahal?" And it's like, okay, you're from Georgia and you haven't been to Alaska? It's a big country. At any rate, I always say that the worst of humanity is hiding in anonymous comment boxes in the internet. That's where the worst of humanity lives, where they could hide behind these cowardly comments. And I didn't realize this until I was doing some research for this trip. You can actually rate and review the 7 wonders of the world, all the different wonders of the world. So you can review the pyramids of Egypt, you can review the Great Wall of China, the Taj Mahal, all those kinds of things. So this is a found poem. And what a found poem is I just borrowed the text. So none of this I made up. All I did was break the lines and shape it into stanzas. So this is an actual, you can check me on this. This is all on the internet. I have a couple of them, but this one I'm going to read. It's called 1-Star Reviews of the Great Wall of China. This is not the experience of a lifetime. It was awful. I couldn't enjoy the scenery because I was too busy trying not to trample or be trampled. Besides that, it was great. I'm just kidding. I hated it. The crowds are crazy. The pollution is crazy. Nobody here can speak English. Back in my day, the walls were more beautiful and they didn't have to be so tall. I didn't feel good with my leg that day, but my wife really wanted to visit the Chinese wall and I said, fine, let's do it. But soon I got tired. I failed in front of my wife because of this wall, so I'm never coming back. It was raining. It was foggy. It was raining so much. It's just a wall. I have one on the Taj Mahal, and you guys know that the Taj Mahal is a monument to an ancient king's wife upon her death, right? Okay, so the last line of it, this was an actual comment. Someone was like, 1 star, can you believe this tomb has no rides? I'm telling you, it's the worst of humanity. All right. All right, when I read this poem out to high schoolers, I always have to make this caveat because they don't know, I think they think I'm making this up, but I think this crowd will know. I'm a child of the 80s, 70s and 80s, and back then, I know it sounds crazy, but for an evening show, it was a drama. It was nominated for Emmys. There was a show called The Incredible Hulk. And I know it said, there was no, so it's not the cartoon, there was an actual man playing the scientist, and then an actual man, it would be a very bad editing job, and then an actual bodybuilder man would play the Hulk. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Okay, good. Does anyone know who the Hulk was played by? No, okay, good. That's where we could tell who are the millennials, who are the people that are not millennials yet. So, anyway, all my friends had Ricky Schroeder, Michael Jackson, those were all their crushes. Mine was a little unconventional. It was Bruce Banner. And that's the, oh no, not Bruce Banner, that's the character. Bill Bixby is the actor's name. And I wanted to just show this real quick. Has the saddest theme song, I think, in the history of TV drama. Okay. Do you guys remember this? So, yeah, I don't think a show like that could ever be made now, you know, and actually win awards and stuff like that. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up on YouTube, or I think on FX they show reruns. So that's The Incredible Hulk I want you to picture, the 70s version. This is called What I Learned from The Incredible Hulk. When it comes to clothes, make an allowance for the unexpected. Be sure the spare in the trunk of your station wagon with wood paneling is not in need of repair. A simple jean jacket says, hey, if you aren't trying to smuggle rare Incan coins through this peaceful little town and kidnap the local orphan, I can be one heck of a mellow kind of guy. But no matter how angry a man gets, I learned that a smile and a soft stroke on his bicep can work wonders. I learned that male chests also have nipples, warm and established, and I learned that green does not always mean envy. It's the meadows full of clover and chicory that the Hulk seeks for rest, a return to normal. And sometimes a woman gets to go with him, her tiny hands correcting his rumpled hair, the cuts in his hand. Green is the space between water and sun. It's the cover for a quiet man, each of his ribs shuttling drops of liquid light. All right. Just because I'm in awe of so many of the students that are in here, I had to give a little bit of background on this. I was a failed chemistry major, and I did not know there were any living poets until my junior year in college. So you guys are already way ahead of me on this. That's how bad my humanities kind of education was. I learned very early on, since I was 3 years old, if I said, I'm gonna be a doctor just like Mom, I would get applause. And nobody actually really, it didn't occur to anybody to ask if I liked chemistry or if I was good at chemistry. I will just tell you this is a red flag. I made it through my junior year in honors chemistry without ever lighting a Bunsen burner by myself. So that should have been a red flag. And then I also, I always said my greatest gift to humanity is not becoming a doctor, because I saved so many lives that way. But when I told my parents this my junior year in college, so I want you to picture, MCATs were supposed to happen in 2 weeks. Spring break, junior year, I sat them down. My stoic Indian father, my vivacious Filipino mother, and said, Mom, Dad, I have something to tell you. I'm not going to be chemistry major anymore. I'm dropping out of the pre-med program, but I found something that I love, and it's called poetry. So I'm going to learn. I don't know how to write it, but I'm going to learn, and I'm going to figure it out in 1.5 years before I graduate. So my stoic Indian father cried. That's probably 1 of 5 times I've ever seen that man cry, and one of them is telling him I wanted to study poetry. My mother didn't speak to me the rest of spring break, so it was a very tumultuous spring break. Finally, the last day, I was about to go back. My father sat me down, and it still gets me choked up because he said, Aimee, I can't do the accent, but he was like, Aimee, we don't have any idea what you're doing with your life, but if you could promise us that you will feel like a student for the rest of your life, then you have our blessing. And, I didn't really need their blessing, but I wanted their blessing, that kind of thing. And to this day, now it's almost embarrassing. Anytime I publish something, they're like, look at my daughter, telling their neighbors all this stuff. So after, I have their full support. They've been so amazing. I wanted to treat them once I got a job, actually, and I think they thought I was going to be homeless or something like that. During that time, though, when they were not talking to me, I could hear them in the kitchen, and I know one of them, I think it was my mother, it was like, this is because you let her be a mascot, They didn't, to their credit, they didn't know what a mascot was. They just were like, she wants to grow up to be Mickey Mouse, that's the thing. So I wanted, for all of their support, for all of the trauma I put them through, I wanted to treat them to a quick weekend in New York City, and I wanted to go to this restaurant that serves this illegal soup. And it's illegal because if you don't prepare it correctly, you will die. So you have to sign you have to waive your rights to sue the restaurant. So here I'm trying to give a thank you to my parents and watching them sign away their lives because they were so excited. The Japanese have a proverb for this soup, and it goes, those who eat fugu soup are so stupid, but those who don't eat fugu soup are even more stupid. This is called the fugu soup blues. Nothing good can come out of eating something named porcupine fish. It's like playing Russian roulette when you cook it. The pulse of toxin in its sweet little body can kill 30 men. But this is the most delicious of all fishes. It's the sweet meat is almost sugared and the salty broth mix. Man, it's worth almost any death. Can you taste the pure poison hidden in the skin folds? Can you forget what you eat may kill you even as you wipe your mouth with the back of your hand? Consider the way the porcupine fish dies. It's the only fish that can close its eyes. When a cleaver comes near its head, it even winces. Sushi chefs complain of the noise it makes on the chopping block, like crying, even though fishermen try to stitch its small mouth shut. And the blinking. Don't we expect fish eyes to be dead black and dumb? You cannot stop this hunger. When something this good can kill you, every pinprick of white pain just adds more flavor. But when the waiter with the curvy smile asks if you want seconds, please, please, I beg of you, set down your spoon. I just have two more. This next one, I don't have much to say about it. I wish I didn't have to read it anymore. I wrote this in a lull of school shootings. So that was maybe, 2 weeks without a school shooting or something a couple years ago. This is called Next. When my 6-year-old son was painting birds during art class, his principal ordered a full lockdown because an armed man was spotted skulking nearby. When I got the news, I could feel my heart throb in my neck. If you pushed even a single finger to my arm, I'd surely burst. Sometimes I think of baby toucans who fall out of their nest. Sometimes a person scoops them in the bucket of her shirt and brings these fallen birds, their necks not even fully feathered yet, to a vet. When toucans are babies, their beaks glow only the palest yellow. The famous rainbow has yet to bite and show. This last one I'm going to read is for all the students in here. And a few years ago, Toy Derricotte, one of the co-founders of Cave Canem, was receiving an award at the National Book Awards, and she said that joy is an act of resistance. And so I love that quote. It's just so simple, but joy is an act of resistance. And I think of that now more than ever, but also because for so much of my growing up, I never saw brown bodies, especially Asian American bodies, allowed to express joy in literature, in movies, in TV shows. Anytime I saw an Asian American on TV or movies, it was like the butt of the joke, or like a Pooh on The Simpsons, or the Dragon Lady Murderess, or something like that, or Long Duck Dong from the 80s movies, that kind of thing. So it was always made a joke, and I loved reading. I was such a nerd. I loved reading about shells. I loved reading about bugs, insects, the search for the giant squid. But one thing I never saw in the author photos of these books is I never saw a brown person writing these books, and I never saw anybody, none of my teachers kind of gave me books that featured brown people in them, actually. So to me, that's like, when you don't see yourself reflected in literature, or you're made fun of in TV and books, then it's almost like, gosh, are Asian women not supposed to like nature? Are they not supposed to like being outside? So this is for the students, and hoping that they find joy as an act of resistance as well. This is called Invitation, and this is the centerpiece poem in my new collection, Oceanic. Invitation. Come in, the water is fine. You can't get lost here. Even if you wanted to hide behind a clutch of spiny oysters, I'll find you. If you ever leave me by night, through a boat, you'll see the arrangement of golden sun stars in a sea of milk, and though it's tempting to visit them, stay. I've been trained to look up and up all my life, no matter the rumble on earth, but I've learned it's okay to glance down once in a while into the sea. So many lessons bubble up if you just know where to look. Clouds of plankton hurricaning and open whale mouths will send you east, and chewy urchins will slide you west. Squid know how to be rich with 10 empty arms, and there are humans who don't know the feel of a good bite or embrace at least once a day. Underneath you, narwhals spin upside down while their singular tooth needles you like a compass pointed towards home. Deep, where imperial volutes and hatchetfish live, colors humans have not yet named glow in caves made from black coral and clamshell. A giant squid finally let itself be captured in a photograph, and who knows what will happen next? If you still want to look up, I hope you see the dark sky as oceanic, boundless, limitless, like all the shades of blue revealed in a glacier. Let's listen how this planet really hums with so much wing, so much fur, and so much fin. Thank you so much.